Number 8 specifically asks you to use substitution method, which is unfortunate because no matter how you choose to rearrange these equations, you will have to use fractions for at least half the problem. It's entirely up to you which variable you solve for. The quickest would be dividing by 7 here to get x by itself, or dividing by 4 here to get y by itself. It does not actually matter at all which one you do. Realistically, what I usually suggest is not just what's the quickest, but if you know you're going to have to deal with fractions, choose the fractions that are the easiest to work with. What that would mean is if I divide by 7 here, I'm going to have denominators of 7, 2 sevenths and 1 seventh. If I divided by 4 here, I've got denominators of 4, 3 fourths, and 15 fourths. Or I could solve for y. I could move a few more things around. I'd end up dividing by 2 here. 1 half and 7 halves. 4 thirds or 15 thirds makes a whole 5. It's up to you which one you choose. It really does not make a difference. One of those really stood out to me as being what I think would be the simplest, and that was rearranging this to get x by itself, because when you do that, one of them is going to be a whole number. Others would argue it's pretty easy to have 2 as a denominator, work with halves. That's pretty simple. It's totally up to you. It makes absolutely no difference. For this example, I'm going to do what I think most people would probably end up doing if I asked them to decide what's easiest, and divide by 2 here. First I need to get the 1 over there, so 7x minus 1 equals 2y. If I divide everything by 2, I get 7 halves x minus 1 half equals y. Yes, they're both fractions instead of having a whole number, but a denominator of 2 is pretty easy to use, especially if you're thinking ahead and understand that I'm going to plug it in for y, which has an even number in front of it. Which means as soon as I plug it in here, it becomes all whole numbers. So this is substitution method, which means all of this is going to get plugged in for y over here. So putting parentheses in 7 halves x minus 1 half equals, and I don't change anything else about the equation. Now I'm ready to solve. Start by distributing. 4 times 7 halves would be 28 halves. What's 28 halves? It's a whole number, right? 14. 4 times 1 half would be 4 halves. What's 4 halves? 2. So we made a good decision here by getting 2's for our denominators, because they turned into whole numbers real quick over here. Now I just need to get my variables together on one side, constants on the other, so let's add 3x. That'll give me 17x. Let's add 2 to both sides now. So 17x equals 17, which means x is 1. Now that I know what x is, I can plug it into one of the original equations to find out what y is. So I'm going to plug it in up here. That would be 7 times 1 equals 2y plus 1. So 7 times 1 is 7. Subtract the 1. Divide by 2. Y is 3. X is 1, y is 3, so the final answer is x comma y, 1 comma 3.